Well, good morning, everybody. Today I have an interesting guitar to look at. It is the least expensive guitar I could find on Craigslist. And then it wasn't that I was looking for the least expensive guitar, I was just looking for something that had a Stratocaster style body because I bought a Stratocaster neck, and I have a guitar that's, I'll actually show it to you. It's this guitar here, which is a guitar body that I built a long time ago, a poplar body, and a neck that came off of a Stratocaster. But the neck's got issues that are so bad, it's not worth my time to mess with it. Basically, it's like a roller coaster, and in order to fix it, I would have to pull the frets, level sand it, reshape the radius, and then refret it, and it's just not worth my time to do that amount of work on this guitar. This is just going to become probably a donation guitar. The only thing about it that I really like, it's got a nice set of obviously Fender tuners on it, and the controls, I put a set of bootstrap pickups in and wired up high-end controls. So I'm going to yank this out, and I'll show you the guitar that was the least expensive one I found on Craigslist. And it's a little bound Stratocaster. It does have the forearm carve and the belly carve, and a tremolo. But it's bound, and so it's kind of cool in that respect. Actually, the headstock is bound as well. The neck looks like it's kind of straight. The wood on the fingerboard, I'm not sure what it is. I've never seen anything like it. I guess it could be Powell Ferro, but it's hard to say. It's so light, it almost looks like bamboo. If you ever look at bamboo flooring, that's what it reminds me of. So I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is I'm not going to keep this neck. I've got the Stratocaster neck that I ordered. I just wanted the body, and these pickups and controls are coming out. This guitar is pretty noisy. I don't know if you can see the action on this thing in the camera, but it's it's higher than the Empire State Building. So if I was actually going to play this thing, it would need a lot of work, and again, I'm not going to mess with that. This neck will just go with that guitar. The controls out of that guitar will go in here with the new Stratocaster neck. So that way, I'll have a nice little playable guitar that's got high-end electronics and will probably sound fantastic. So, but anyways, the story of this guitar, and it's funny because if you see behind me, there's a little tiny amp. I mean, this amp is the smallest thing I've ever seen. It's about the size of a motorcycle battery, and it sounds about like a motorcycle battery. I mean, it sounds like you're playing in a cracker box. I mean, it's hilarious. But it's called a Guitar Amplifier GA10, and I'll bet you with a lot of cheap guitars that I've bought over the years, and when I was buying student model amplifiers to give to students that want to take guitar lessons, I ended up with, there must be 10 different companies out there that sell a GA10 amplifier, and I think it's probably guitar amplifier 10 amp or guitar amplifier 10-inch speaker or whatever, although I don't think that one's got a 10-inch speaker. But so it must be a standard in the Chinese small amp world, is just call everything a GA10. Because I've had one that I bought. I actually traded a guy some templates, Telecaster template, for one that was just the electronics. It didn't have a case, and I built a pine case and put the thing in there and sold it to a kid that loved the sound of it. It had a real nice drive quality, and if this one was put in a bigger case with a decent speaker, it might sound okay. But right now, I'm not even going to let you hear a sound demo on it. It's so bad. But I will let you hear this guitar. This is Best Choice Products, BCP, and these were a couple of years ago. I had a Epiphone EA250, which was a early 70s predecessor to the Epiphone Riviera. Actually, in between, because the Riviera had been made before that, and then they reissued it. But this was kind of in the middle of that period, where that was the only Epiphone hollow body that was being produced. I loved the guitar. It played great. It sounded fantastic. It had these oddball single coils that looked like humbuckers in it. I took all the electronics out, cleaned everything out, put it back together, had a bolt-on neck, and I did a neck job on it. And that guitar, to this day, it was probably one of the best playing guitars I've ever owned in terms of the comfort of the neck. You know, it was just an awesome guitar. But again, it was a full hollow body, and it just, you know, it just wasn't a sound that I could use or figured I would get use out of. So I sold it, but I wanted a semi-hollow body, so I ended up with an Epiphone 335, and I thought if I really like it, I'll go buy myself a Gibson. Well, as it turned out, I like it okay, and I'll keep it, and it's going to be something I have no reason to get rid of. I bought it at the right price. It's a beautiful guitar. It's a natural. I think I did a video on it a while back. But while I was looking for that guitar, I thought, you know, maybe I'll try a real inexpensive one, just see how it feels, not necessarily to determine whether or not I like the sound. So Fireflies were just coming out at that point. There were people that were doing these Grote, Grote guitars. And so I actually thought, well, you know, in that $200 range or $150 range or $100 range, how can I go wrong? You know, just trying one out, see how it feels. Forget about the sound and the quality. I was just going to get it, and if I liked it, step up to the next one. So as I was looking, this Best Choice guitar kept popping up as a Walmart sale item. And apparently you can buy directly from Best Choice Products Company now, and this guitar is actually currently available. I don't know how old this guitar is. I bought it from a guy that lives right around the corner a couple days ago, and I paid $55 for it, and I think that's about what they were selling for when I originally looked. I was looking for the semi-hollow guitar, and Best Choice Products kept popping up on the Walmart site at around $129. And I didn't end up getting one because I thought, you know, this isn't going to be a fair representation of what I'm looking for. So I opted to wait until I could find an Epiphone, you know, that was priced right. And it wasn't too much more than that I paid for the one that I got, which was, you know, somebody had bought and had been sitting around. I think it's about 15 years old. It's when I first remember the Epiphone Dot guitars coming out. And I like it, like I said, and I'm going to keep it. But I kept seeing these BCP Best Choice Products guitars, and so when this one popped up on the internet the other day on Craigslist, I saw BCP on the bag, and I was pretty sure that's what it was. The guy wanted $55, came with in the original box with the guitar stand, the amp. The only thing it was missing was a tremolo bar, and I happened to have one of these 4mm tremolo bars sitting around from another guitar, so I just put it in here to try it out. But now these guitars sell for about $139 on the Best Choice website and on Walmart and on Amazon. And I think that by the time you get to that level, you're in Fender Bullet or Squier Bullet territory. And I think you can't go wrong as a starter guitar with a Squier Bullet. I've had a couple of them. I've had two Tellys and one Strat Squier Bullets, and the last Telly I had was a surf green with a rosewood neck, and honestly, I love that guitar, but I've got a bunch of other Tellys, and so I ended up selling it. But as a starter guitar, that thing right out of the box was as good as it gets. So these, I think, are a little overpriced considering that's what they're competing with. You can buy a Squier Bullet hardtail, I think, for around $120. You can buy a Squier Bullet with a tremolo in it for around $180. About what this thing sells for, and it's going to come out of the box a whole lot better set up than this. And it's probably going to be something that is going to play better. This one actually, the pickups aren't too bad in it. The pots are scratchy, and it could be just from this thing having sat around for a while. But like I said, the guy I bought it from, it was essentially new in the box, and he really didn't play it much. But it's pretty noisy through my amp right now. I've got the volume all the way off, and so it's either got a grounding problem or a pot problem that would need to be addressed if if I was going to keep this set up. And like I said, I'm just going to yank all this stuff out, probably including the pick guard, and just dump it in the other one. And then take that whole assembly and put it in here. Anyways, I just thought it was interesting to find one of these that was actually for sale. Because like I said, when I was looking at them online thinking I might try one out, I just thought, no, I'm not going to try something at that low level because I don't think there's any value there. And, I'm glad I didn't. At $55, this is a good deal for, you'd pay that much to get a cheap Chinese body anyways. And this is actually kind of a nice body with the binding and, it's not a bad sunburst. There's a knot. It's probably a 2-piece or a 3-piece. There's a knot down by the output jack, but the guitar that I'm replacing electronics from has a knot on this side of the bridge, so it's not like not like I'm losing anything. It's just that body has some other problems. I think it's going to crack at some point based on the way I glued it up originally. I didn't know what I was doing. It was one of the first guitar bodies that I ever actually made, and it didn't come out very well. And like I said, the neck's no good, so I'll steal tuners and the electronics off it and put it on here. But I thought, we'll do a little sound demo on this thing just so you can hear, what you get on the cheapest guitar available on Craigslist. So this is the neck pickup. Tremolo is also jammed up tight. I don't know how many springs it's got or how it's set up, but if I keep this tremolo, I'll have to make some adjustments to it. So that's, here's position 4. So that does the Strat thing. I always get position 4 and position 2 screwed up because I don't know which is number 1. The bridge or the neck, but anyways, here's the middle position. So actually that's a usable sound. I mean, nothing out of this guitar is not usable. That quacky number 2 position, and then here's the bridge. So there you have it, just a little sampling of this thing. And like I said, if the sad thing is, the guy that I bought it from said that he has tried to learn guitar a couple of times, and he keeps buying them and then selling them because he doesn't learn. Well, as I'm holding this thing, I'm thinking, well, that's a shame because this is set up so badly that would probably deter somebody from learning, And if it were set up properly and much more playable, I mean, the action's got to come down at least double what it is to even be playable at the 12th fret, and down by the nut. I mean, the nut's not cut horribly, but the strings are embedded in the nut, which means, they're going to be muted out on the open chords. The tuners are, I would say they're about as bad as they can get. Although I tuned it up 2 days ago and I haven't messed with it. It's still in tune. And I played with the tremolo a little bit. So, like I said, it's a shame. I think this guitar could be a good beginner's guitar, but like you see on so many other videos, you're going to spend, whatever he spent on it, even if it was, $60, and you're going to take it to there are only three guitar places around here. There's Guitar ER. There's another guy a little further north that's got a guitar workshop, and then there's Guitar Center. And the local music stores use the Guitar ER guy or the other tech. So there are really only three local techs to cover maybe about a 50-mile radius, and all of them would charge a minimum of $50 to set this up. So if you bought it at today's price online, like I said, I think it's $189, and took it to a tech, you're into Squier Affinity pricing or used Squier Classic Vibe money, and a used Squier Classic Vibe is probably as good as a Fender Player guitar, and you don't really get any substantial quality higher than that until you get into the higher end Fenders. So this guitar doesn't make sense financially unless you can buy it like I did and do the setup yourself. Which, if I didn't care about, like I like the Stratocaster headstock. I'm not a big fan of something like this. I mean, it kind of looks like a Schecter or an Ibanez or something like that, which is fine if I was, into shredding and that was, what I was going to go out and play, then maybe this thing would be okay. Like I said, the fingerboard's kind of weird. I don't know that I would ever warm up to that because generally with rosewood fingerboards, if you look at the ones I have, I'm looking at 3 rosewood fingerboards here. I have a Gibson SG Special that's about 15 years old. I have my Epiphone Traditional Pro 4 and the Epiphone 335. All 3 of them have rosewood fingerboards, but the tightness of the grain and the way that they're worn in and the way that they've been treated, they're like butter. I mean, they're like maple necks in terms of how slick they are. So this would take a lot of getting used to for me. I mean, I can feel the grain in here. It's kind of the thing that Eric Clapton complained about when he got one of his first Stratocasters and decided he wanted a maple neck. I was the same way. I remember, when I was young, my first electric guitar was a Fender Mustang, and I remember it was, I think it was red, but it had faded to kind of a pink, and I was a 14-year-old kid living in Southern California. I wasn't going to be playing a pink guitar, at least not then. By the 80s, then that would have been hot, and it would have been the thing to have. But I stripped all the paint off it and learned how to do neck setup, and the pickups in it and the electronics were pretty good back then. They didn't have the the differential. They weren't putting the cheap stuff in that they put in the lower line Fenders and Squiers now. It was all Fender quality stuff, and I think I paid $45 for that guitar and stripped it and left a natural finish and did the setup and played that guitar for 2 or 3 years. But it had a rosewood fingerboard, and I remember picking up the first guitar that I picked up, which I think was a Stratocaster that had a maple neck, thinking, oh man, this is so much nicer. And so again, having this kind of weird wood on here, it would have to be sealed. I think you can use tongue oil, and it'll actually set hard, and it does some pore filling. You don't want to use it as a neck treatment oil, but it would probably be good for a one-time use on something like this, and then treat it with lemon oil after that, or mineral oil, or something to keep it slick. But right now it's just it would be something I wouldn't ever warm up to the way it is. So anyways, just a little video on the best choice products, cheapest guitar you can find on Craigslist. Hope you all have a great day, and when I get done modifying this with the Stratocaster neck and the controls that are going to come out of that guitar and the new tuners, I'll do another video as a comparison. It's going to be a while. The neck just shipped, and I don't think it's going to be here for about 4 weeks, and then I'll be gone. So it could be a couple months before I get around to doing that video. But anyways, have a great day.